But we can get out there, reach out, make the case. And for one thing, don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness.
And having a chance every day. Like, how many chances do you get? My answer to that is as many chances as you need, which doesn't really please those law and order people.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Conservative Core, where our goal is to shine a light on the ridiculousness of the left. If you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, notification button, and like button. Now, if you missed it, the Democrats chose Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, as the vice president. And I say the Democrats picked him because we all know that Kamla Harris is not calling the shots, but I digress. But in this video, we are going to break down the troubling and flat-out scary past of Tim Walz, what he believes in, and his track record. There is so much here to break down, so make sure to watch this video in full. Now, when we discuss Tim Walz, it's hard not to mention that his vision aligns closely with communism. Don't believe us? Well, let's start with the quote-unquote protests.
A society that does not put equity and inclusion at the center of it is certainly going to eventually come to the places where we're at. This is a moment of inflection. It's a moment of real change. It's a moment that those folks who are out there demanding this are not going to take a commission or a report. They're going to want fundamental change. And that is what I think, that's one of the exciting things in the midst of all this. You can feel a sense of optimism coming back.
This is the guy who let Minnesota burn. He allowed a police precinct to burn down. Walz's leadership was marked by cowardness and a lack of control, allowing the state to descend into the chaos we all saw live. He sat there and did nothing while people's livelihoods were left burning throughout the night. He failed to take the necessary actions to protect the community and maintain order. No, this isn't footage from a conflict zone in the Middle East. This is the aftermath of the Minneapolis riots, where Minnesota Governor Tim Walz stood by as the city burned for 4 consecutive nights. This chaotic scene is now part of the legacy tied to Kamala Harris's new running mate. It's incredible how some leaders seem more concerned with appeasing a radical agenda than protecting their own communities. Rather than taking decisive action to protect businesses and citizens, Walz allowed the chaos to fester. For days, he hesitated, seemingly more concerned with appeasing certain political factions than enforcing the law. This inaction had real consequences. Stores like Target, small businesses, and other establishments were left vulnerable, with owners receiving little to no support from Tim. Yet Tim Walz's administration responded with a deafening silence, failing to mobilize the National Guard effectively or implement curfews to restore order. It wasn't until after significant damage was done and multiple days passed before any meaningful action was taken. By then, it was too little, too late. Heck, even Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey begged for the National Guard to stop the madness. But Tim sat there and did nothing until multiple days later after so much was destroyed and dozens of buildings were looted.
Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey has consistently said what he told us on June 2nd.
I will speak the truth. And the truth is that on Wednesday, around 6 p.m., I called the governor and asked for the National Guard.
Text messages and emails from the mayor's office for Wednesday, May 27th back that up.
And Tim Walz's leadership during the George Floyd riots hit a new low when his daughter reportedly leaked the National Guard's deployment plans online. This reckless action gave rioters a clear window of opportunity, allowing them to loot the city with impunity, knowing exactly when and where law enforcement would, or wouldn't, be present. This breach of security not only undermined public safety, but also showed a disturbing level of negligence and disregard for the well-being of Minnesota's residents. But Tim doesn't care, because he was nice and cozy in his bed with his taxpayer-funded security. Instead of safeguarding the community, Walz's administration inadvertently aided those intent on chaos and destruction. Minneapolis is a war zone because of him. But Kamala was backing this destruction too. As we know, she was all for defunding the police as well as supporting the Minnesota Freedom Fund. When it comes to immigration, Tim Walz's positions are nothing short of alarming. He's publicly declared his desire to provide a ladder so that illegal immigrants can scale Trump's wall. Yes, you heard that correctly, a ladder for invaders to bypass national security measures and flood our borders. This rhetoric is not just misguided, it's a blatant endorsement of open borders. Walz's radical stance reflects an unrestrained zeal for dismantling any form of border security and enforcement. His approach to immigration is a classic example of leftist ideology run amok, where the focus is less on maintaining order and more on pandering to radical activists who want no restrictions whatsoever. By promoting policies that encourage illegal entry into the country, Walz is effectively championing chaos over control and putting American citizens at risk, but this wouldn't be the first time. Heck, he even did this.
It's done.
A packed room at the St. Paul Armory erupted after the governor's signature made driver's license for all the law of the land.
Tim Walz's signing of the driver's licenses for all legislation is a perfect example of radical leftist overreach. This move, which allows undocumented immigrants to obtain state driver's licenses, is nothing more than a blatant attempt to undermine border security and reward illegal behavior. Instead of prioritizing the needs of legal residents and addressing the legitimate concerns about immigration, Walz is enabling a free pass for those who have circumvented our laws. And then we also have the feeding our future case. Governor Tim Walz's administration oversaw the single worst fraud of the pandemic era, the feeding our future case. Due to incompetence at the Department of Education, criminals stole $250 million of taxpayer dollars, which they spent on luxury cars, houses, and vacations. During the same period, Walz approved $500 million in hero pay for frontline workers, but 40% of that money went to ineligible recipients, or in some cases, individuals who were deceased. And how could we forget the pandemic? Tim Walz established a snitch program during the pandemic where people were able to report neighbors for violating his authoritarian stay-at-home orders. This is something really straight out of the Castro playbook.
Hello, you have reached the Department of Public Safety stay-at-home hotline. The information you leave is considered public information. At the tone, please leave the following information: your name, your callback number, how the stay-at-home order is being violated, and where the stay-at-home order was violated. Thank you.
Record your message at the tone. When you are finished, hang up or press pound for more options.
Tim Walz has consistently praised socialist policies, championing ideas that undermine economic freedom and personal responsibility. His support for such radical economic systems has led to disastrous consequences, including ineffective governance and a disregard for the principles that have traditionally supported economic growth and individual prosperity. By embracing socialism, Walz has proven himself to be a poor steward of public resources and a leader out of touch with the needs of the people. His record is a testament to the failures of socialist ideology and its detrimental impact on effective leadership. Well, that's all I got for this one. Thanks for watching. And make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and like this video for more conservative news daily. See you in the next one.